We're back with our Supply Spotlight series, and today we're joined by Agnes from Gatehouse Maritime. Hi, Agnes.
Hi, Rory. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. If anyone has listened to these videos before, you know that we're going to talk about who Gatehouse Maritime are, the challenge that you solve, the solution that you have in place to solve that challenge, what that results in, and then what's next for the company. So without further ado, Agnes, let's kick things off. Who is Gatehouse Maritime?
Yeah, so I'll say first very quickly, who am I? I'm a sales executive here at I'm a sales executive here at Gatehouse Maritime, and Gatehouse Maritime is a data as service company, and we've been in business for about 2 decades. So we've got some colleagues being a part of Gatehouse Maritime for just as long. So you can imagine we're working with a lot of data, and also with a lot of expertise. But who we really are, is we're a data provider for ocean supply chain, and we are trying to look into container and vessel movements, among other ocean analytics.
I think there's been an emergence, certainly either an emergence of organizations, or maybe they were just brought to everyone, including mine's attention, following the supply chain issues that kind of were hitting the news in 2021 with port congestion,
Yeah.
containers being backlogged, how that influenced things like inflation, which obviously touches the consumer, and then all of a sudden everyone cares about supply chain. And there seems to be a lot of different organizations trying to solve little different parts of the supply chain problem to either make it more efficient, more effective, digitally capture information, etc. So I'm really interested to understand then, what is the challenge that Gatehouse Maritime is solving?
Yeah, so there is quite a lot of challenges out there in ocean shipment or logistics or supply chain in general. But we can maybe think of the container tracking service that we're working with, and then work with this idea and what is the challenge we are trying to solve with this. And if we look at the bigger picture, then there is ocean shipment that is a mid-mile, really, in transportation. And you can think of mid-mile as something that happens in the middle. So there's first mile, before, when the manufacturer is shipping, or another company is working, a freight forwarder or whoever is working with the shipping the good from the manufacturer to the port, or from other really raw materials factories, whatever place, to the port. And then from the port it sails to the next destination, which is in a way mid-mile. And after the goods have arrived to the port of destination, so the water or the ocean shipment is done, then the next mile would be the last mile. So what is really important when we discuss ocean supply chain and the visibility of ocean supply chain as well, is to make sure that this segment of the shipment is covered data-wise as well. Now, there's just so many things that can happen. So disruptions can happen, and delays can happen. So all in all, having data and making sure that all these delays and disruptions are followed and somehow incorporated for the next mitigating action can be very beneficial for our clients. And I can imagine it just like this Jenga tower, this game that some play. I've never played it, but if you pull out the middle bricks, then and if you pull out the wrong one, which would be, let's say, the ocean shipment, then the whole tower collapses. And I can tell you an example. So if we consider, let's say, a freight forwarder is shipping a container for its client from A to B, and an ocean shipment is a part of it, of course. Now, imagine that the shipment doesn't arrive in time, or the ETA changes, and the end client cannot really incorporate that into their next action. They have to look for a temporary solution. So a temporary solution can be very costly, because you might have to look for a different raw material, or any other data, not data, but any other product provider to supplement for this gap. And nowadays, everything is really happening outside of our borders, so we're very, very reliant on international trade. And since we became so reliant on international trade and import and export, then if something would go wrong, it would have a much bigger impact on our daily operations, I would say.
So supply chain disruption, lack of visibility, who does this all impact then?
Well, I would say it's the supply chain actors for ocean visibility. That would be a freight forwarding business, a digital freight forwarder business, a supply chain management business. TMS companies can also use tracking data to add an extra layer to their services. So anybody really who wants to know where the goods are and when they are arrive to the port of destination, when they are ready to be picked up or when they are being picked up, matter of fact, they can use our data.
How does it impact them then?
So there are maybe two ways to answer this question. And we can take the first, which would be if we are taking the freight forwarders as an example, and that would be the freight forwarder market. And the market is really competitive. So I would say it is fairly hard, and this is what we hear as well from our perspective. It's very hard to keep clients and to get new clients. And research shows really that there are the first two ways of getting a client or getting a returning client is price, no surprise, right? And
Obviously.
then it would be the speed of answer to booking. Now, the next one would be a good customer service and really just an extra layer of consultancy and trustworthiness and making sure that yes, the goods are arriving from A to B, but there is an extra visibility. There's something like an extra service on top of this. And what we understand is that this really is providing their clients just this extra that makes them return or choose them among others. But then the other approach to this would be really how delays impact our clients. And there has to be a mitigating action taken if there is a delay for the next mile that we've discussed before. So ocean shipment is a mid-mile, and then there's still a lot of things happening after that, just as much as there is a lot of things happening before that. So they will have to know, or at least ideally they would have to know when their goods arrive, because there is usually a delay with 7 days as far as I can see. And really having a better and a more accurate ETA can help them and their clients to take this mitigating action.
The all-important question then, what is the Gatehouse Maritime solution to all of this?
Yeah, so here at Gatehouse Maritime, we are using multiple data sources. And we do that mainly to cover for all the missing gaps. And we are, of course, using carrier data as well. So for our clients who are using only carrier data, our additional sources would be just a much better layer on understanding what is happening with their container. And one of our sources is AIS and geofences. So what we have noticed along the time that carriers are not providing departed and arrived events. And so what we have here is that we have these geofences on our commercial ports across the world. And when the vessel associated to your container, the container of your interest, crosses a geofence at the port of loading or the port of destination, we are providing an immediate departure or arrival event. And same goes to our predictions. So, which is yet another source of data. It's coming from our machine learning and AI that we've got here. And we can have a more accurate ETA since we are monitoring the movements of the containers really with a close eye. And we've got predictions on discharge and gate out events. So our clients can know a couple of days in advance when their container is ready to be picked up or where the container is being picked up. So basically, discharge event is when the container is being lifted off or placed on the port from the vessel, and the gate out event is when the container is leaving this area of port.
Good stuff. So in summary, you are amalgamating carrier, AIS, and other data sources to create an 8-stage event log while using AI and ML to
And
produce
we're
predictions on where the container is and what it might do next. So what does that result in for your customers then, Agnes?
Yeah, so mainly for our clients working with one single data source, it's definitely a cost saving to get an outsourced data company as Gatehouse Maritime, and most of our clients are using our container tracking as an example to really not have to deal with all these multiple channels really in their companies. So for them, they would have to have budget allocated for a team of developers or for a team of data or tech members to have to work through this data, clean it, put it in an organized way. Plus, they're not getting all the extra layers that we have. So they're certainly getting a better data, and they are certainly saving costs since we are taking care of all the other details of data issues really. And then when it comes to a more holistic view of how do we resolve the gaps or the lack of visibility, that is certainly comes down to being able to make these mitigating actions or providing their clients with a better overview of what is really happening with their containers. So in that sense, knowing that a container is delayed would be a great help for the next layer of the supply chain to have a better plan on.
Agnes, thanks a lot for your time. Look out for Gatehouse Maritime in the upcoming conferences, as you mentioned, and for exciting product updates coming in the weeks and months to come. Thanks a lot, Agnes.
Thanks. Take care.